Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar about building a marketing data warehouse with BigQuery and Supermetrics. My name is Riku Mikkonen. I'm the product marketing manager here at Supermetrics for our data warehousing products. And today, Kristina Grinko will be presenting us the second part of our beginner's guide. But before we go ahead, here, our first webinar was there where we basically discussed how to build a marketing data warehouse with Google BigQuery and Supermetrics. So if you're interested in that, we'll send you the link along with the recording of this one, so you'll know what exactly you need to do to build a marketing data warehouse. Today's speaker, of course, if you're not familiar with her already, is Kristina Grinko. She's the head of data at Better and Stronger. She's been doing guest lecturing at Jean Moulin University, EM Lyon Business School, and Digital College, and basically many other different teaching assignments and engagements all over Europe. And she's, of course, very involved with the data analytics community, especially in France. Now, today's agenda will be first talking about the introduction, what is Supermetrics, and then Kristina will tell us what is Better and Stronger, how you import Google Analytics data into BigQuery, what's the Supermetrics GA data structure, and of course, we wrap up with reporting using Google tools. Now, before we go ahead, let's talk about what is Supermetrics. So Supermetrics powers data-curious business cultures by enabling easy access to all marketing data for everyone. Now, what we do is that we basically take data from different marketing sources and transfer and process them to be used in different reporting and data storage tools using our connectors and our different platforms that we have created for data transferring. We're trusted by 400,000 users, and the number keeps on growing. And of course, we are used all over the world. So we are very well connected in the marketing community. But without any further ado, I'll hand the stage over to Kristina.
So thank you very much, Rico, for the introduction. So I will just take a minute to introduce you my agency, Better and Stronger. This is a marketing agency based in Lyon, and we have also offices in Rennes, Paris, and Gothenburg, Sweden. And this is an agency that do the marketing campaigns, social media strategy, brand strategy, and we also do data, and the data is related to all that we do, marketing campaigns as well, and social media strategy, because we actually analyze the results thanks to the data, and we optimize our actions based on this analysis that we do. So let's some figures about us. We have 4 offices for now. We have a lot of consultants that speak different languages. For my part, I'm Ukrainian and I live in France. So we do the marketing campaigns for our clients in more than 70 countries. And here are some of our customers. Like for example, for Timberland, we do social media strategy. For Elost, we do the marketing, digital marketing campaigns, and for the clients like Hotelissima, for example, we do the data, only the data and the marketing strategy. So let's talk about Google Analytics data in BigQuery. So actually, we often hear a question: why do we actually need to put the data, the Google Analytics data, into BigQuery? And there are several reasons for that. So actually, the first is that data belongs to you. Why it is important? For example, if you use the free version of Google Analytics data, you don't have any contract with Google about it. So if, for example, tomorrow your account is deleted, well, you don't have your data, and you don't have really a right to say, hey, where's my data, Google? Well, it's better to maybe store it in your cloud, in your BigQuery project, to be able to access this data whenever you want. If you stream your data, if you stream your raw Google Analytics data to BigQuery, you will not have any data sampling, because I think you've already you already had this problem with sampling in your Google Analytics account. You will be able to personalize your reporting as you wish, because you will be able to modify this data with using SQL as you wish, with plenty of different formulas, and there are plenty of possibilities to really change your data as you wish in Google BigQuery. You can visualize this data in any BI and reporting tool, because Google BigQuery connects very easily with the most famous, the most important BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, Google Data Studio, Looker, and many others. And you actually will be able to connect your online data, your Google Analytics data, with offline data. And one of the reasons, of course, is that you can share this data easily with your BI department. And sometimes business intelligence department, they're not really familiar with Google Analytics interface, and they really prefer to work in cloud, in data warehouse, to access this data. There are many other reasons, but I think it's okay for now. Let's proceed. Well, actually, you know that for GA360, it's the paid version of Google Analytics. You have a native integration with Google BigQuery. But I assume that if you're watching this webinar and if you're interested in Supermetrics connector for Google Analytics data, you are maybe a free Google Analytics user. So you wonder how you get your Google Analytics data to BigQuery. There are several options that you can develop your own connector without, well, you will need to, of course, to have developers internally to do that. Then you can find some free solutions on GitHub. There are some developers who kindly shared their solutions on GitHub. But of course, you will not have any support for these solutions. You will implement it, and if it doesn't work, well, that's your problem. And you can use some existing connectors plus support options like Supermetrics, for example. And here, with the existing connectors, you have actually several options of loading your data to BigQuery. It can be a streaming upload. We will see what streaming and batch means in the next slides. So you can have streaming upload without any historical data available. So if you started to collect the data today, your Google Analytics in BigQuery data, so it will be available starting from today. You can try the batch upload with historical data, and there are some connectors who offer batch and streaming data. So let's check what's the difference between batch and streaming. Well, at first, before I explain you that, I wanted to tell you that you actually can explore GI360 free public data sample in Google BigQuery if you use this link in this presentation, which will be available after the webinar. You can actually go and explore and see, play with the data, Google Analytics data from 360. To see what it actually, how it actually looks. So what about the difference between batch and streaming? So I will explain you that, because me as a marketer, for me it was new to these terms of batch and streaming. So I would like to explain you it in a simple way. So batch is actually when the data is collected. It's sent for the processing, and actually it's sent to your data warehouse like once per day, once per week. It just collected and sent once per period. When we talk about streaming, it means that whenever you have the new data, it's streamed into your data warehouse. It means that the streaming is ongoing process. Like whenever you have a new transaction, it's streamed to your data warehouse. So let's proceed. What are the examples of streaming data? So actually here I made you a screen capture of streaming data from one of the connectors who gives you the possibility to have the streaming data. So it's actually you have a lot of data in one table, and it's divided by heat. You know, it's streamed on a heat level data. So every action that a person does on your website, it's sent immediately to Google BigQuery. So actually, the Supermetrics connector gives you the possibility to do the batch load of data from Google Analytics to Google BigQuery. It's great because you can access the historical data, which is not really available at all with streaming data. So you can go and load your data for the previous periods. And actually, in my previous webinar, I showed you and gave you some links to get the backfill data into BigQuery from Google Analytics. So what's the structure of Supermetrics data, Google Analytics data in BigQuery? So you actually have this structure. You have these tables with content data. It means you see the pages visited and some page performance information. You have a table with site search data. You have a table about the traffic and goals per source and per campaign. You have a table dedicated to your paid traffic, some table for user information about user cities, countries, the session quantity, etc. Some information about technology, browser, device, operating system, e-commerce data, of course, some data from social networks visit. So if you configured well the social traffic in Google Analytics, so you will have this report available, and some event tracking information, which is quite important about the important actions on your website. So what's important about Supermetrics Google Analytics data is that it has a very flat and simple structure. It's really simple for us marketers to read these data tables. It has no nested and repeated fields, and I will explain you next what it means, because I think it's important when you start to work with BigQuery. It's important to understand what does it mean, nested and repeated fields. And actually, Supermetrics Google Analytics data consists of many small tables per date, that you need to consider in your queries. I will show you that in the next slide. So here you can see an example of Supermetrics. So it means you have your tables per date. So I will show you some demonstration. If you go to Supermetrics data, here I'm in Supermetrics data. I have my tables which are available per date. So it means that I have like small tables divided by the date of all this data. So for example, here it's 18th of March, and I have only the data for 18th of March. Why it's important to take into account, just when you will create your queries, like here in this example. For example, if you want to select all the lines, all the data from a table, when you click, let's get back to demo. When you click on the query table, and then you say, hey, get me the data from this table, it will only show you the data for this date. And if you want to take your data from all the tables available, you will need to put a star here. So it will take all the data from all the tables available. Like here you have some examples in my queries. And actually, if you want to put some filters, like I need the data between this date and this date, you can use the table suffix keyword for the filter. And I actually provided you a link on BigQuery documentation that explain how do you work with this kind of tables in your SQL queries. So next, nested and repeated fields. For me, it's really important to understand what it means. So if you work with the streaming data, Google Analytics data in your BigQuery, you will see that sometimes you have like a one session, you have one visit ID, one session ID, but you have several page views, of course. Normally, if you visit a website, you will certainly visit several pages, several page views. And what BigQuery does is that it doesn't store a visit ID in front of every page view. It stores it once to make some economies of data consumption. It stores it once, and then it associates your page views with one session visit. So if we take a concrete example, we see, for example, one visit ID. So you see that all other lines are empty. So it doesn't store it every time. But during this one visit ID, one person bought all these products during one session ID. So we have a line per product, but we don't have a visit ID stored for every product bought. In BigQuery, they don't think that it's necessary to store it for every product. We just associate this small mini table with this big table and with this line. So this is called nested fields. And you will, if you work with this kind of tables, you need to take it into consideration when you work with your queries. Like, for example, I gave you here an example that you can actually test on your analytics sample data, where you need to unnest your heats table. So if we go back here, your heats table, to retrieve some data in nested fields. So it's important to take into consideration when you work with nested fields, with the tables with nested fields. So for me, actually, the most valuable feature of having your Google Analytics data in BigQuery is merging your offline and online data. For example, for some of my clients, I merge the Google Analytics data with CRM data because I want to have a complete overview on what happens in my client's business. And if we have e-commerce data, online revenue data in our Google Analytics, in our CRM, for example, sometimes we have the orders made by phone, which doesn't know this information. We cannot find it in Google Analytics. So I combine my CRM data with Google Analytics to get more information about what happened actually in the client's business. So here I gave you just an example of combining the CRM data with Supermetrics at cost. So actually I created a table to get the revenue per date, and then I combined this table with the ad cost per date in my Supermetrics data. So I was able to retrieve this data and to have a revenue and ad cost per date. So I just wanted to check here if actually my changes in ad spend impact the global revenue or not. Then I explored this data in Google Data Studio, and I created a table where the circle, the size of circle, gives me an idea about the amount of revenue I've got. And here I see that for some dates I've got more revenue, but actually the ad spend is always pretty the same. It's between 90 and 130. So I can realize here, for example, that even if I Well, actually, I spend quite the same amount of money on ads during these days, but my revenue is different. It can be quite different. Sometimes it's really small, sometimes it's really big. So it depends. So actually here we can, if we compare the revenue with the ad cost, we can realize, for example, sometimes that even if we spend the same amount, it doesn't really impact our revenue day to day. This is just a quick, simple example. So I wanted to talk to you today also about the reporting with Google tools. I think that there are plenty of possibilities to do some automated reporting with free Google tools, and I wanted to introduce you quickly to them and to do some demo. So, for example, hope you see my Google spreadsheet data. So your Google Slides, if you want to do your presentation for your clients in Google Slides, know that you can connect it with Google Spreadsheet. And how can you do that? For example, imagine that you want to copy this table into your slides. You click paste. Here it is. And know that actually, whenever you change something in your table, like here, for example, I will put goal 5. You can go back to your slides. You can click on update. Let me renew my page. Yeah, we can click on update here. And you see that this changed the number of goals. Well, actually, it's just as simple as that. You have your data in your Google Sheets, and you can connect it easily with Google Slides so that it can be automatically renewed in your presentation. This is just some kind of stuff that not everybody knows about, so I hope that you will find it useful. What about how can you get, for example, the data from Google BigQuery? So once you have all your data in Google BigQuery, how can you get it in Google Spreadsheet? Well, actually, if you click in your Google Spreadsheet, if you use G Suite, it's the paid version of Gmail, well, G Suite, you have an access to Gmail, to Google Drive, etc. Normally, if you use the paid version of it, you have an access to a connector, to a native connector between Google BigQuery and Google Sheet. So if you click on Connect to BigQuery, you select a project, and actually you can copy paste your query here. Hope it works. I wanted just to count the number of lines in this table, so just simple as that. I use the BigQuery public data set, which is available for everybody. You can go to sources and access your public data sets. So let's get back to Google Sheets. I will name it as lines. Let's see if it works. You click on Insert Results. And it actually inserts results from your BigQuery. And whenever if it changed if it changed sometimes, if you have a new data in your BigQuery, you can click on refresh. Whenever you go on this table, you can click on refresh, so you have new data every day. So this is how exactly you can connect quickly your BigQuery data with Google Spreadsheet. Because sometimes I know that some of my clients are, they prefer to have the reporting in Google Spreadsheet more than having it in Google Data Studio. What about Google Data Studio? So normally when you start creating your report from scratch in Google Data Studio, you will see this window appearing or you can connect your data studio to your Google Sheet or to your Google BigQuery data directly. But also you have an access if you subscribe to Supermetrics offer and you work with Supermetrics for your data connectors, you can have an access and free access to Supermetrics for BigQuery here, which is quite a better version of connection between Google BigQuery and Google Data Studio. So here I will show you the example of connection with BigQuery with the native connector. So I can choose my public data set. First I need to choose my project. I can go and choose data sets. I choose a table, I click add to report. And here my BigQuery data is here in my Google Data Studio. So I can explore it better here. So, and once again, if you're a Supermetrics client, you can use the Supermetrics Google BigQuery to Google Data Studio connector, which is just the better option of the native connector. Feel free to use it. So here it was just a quick demo on how you can use free Google tools connected one with another. You can connect Google BigQuery's Google Spreadsheet, and then you can connect Google Spreadsheet with Google Slides, or you can connect Google Spreadsheet with Google Data Studio. For example, here, if I want to add another chart, if I want to add another table, I can go and change the source. And I can connect, for example, to my Google Spreadsheet. I click on Google Sheets, Supermetrics, Spreadsheet Data, reconnect. Don't forget to change a metrics dimension, because if not, it doesn't work. Yeah, so here I have a cost for my source, for my Facebook source, here from my Google Spreadsheet. So actually, maybe you wonder, why do we need to integrate Google Analytics at first into BigQuery and then put it on Spreadsheet? Because maybe everybody knows about the Google Analytics connector for Spreadsheet. But actually, I wanted to tell you about one use case that we had recently, that we needed to get Google Analytics data per day per source. And actually, when we try to explore this data in Google Spreadsheet directly using Google Analytics add-on, we actually, every time we open this Google Spreadsheet, the laptop was really about to explode, because it was a lot too much data for Google Spreadsheet to consume, to process. So the best option was for us, it's to just get this analytics data to BigQuery, to combine it as we wanted with CRM data, and then to connect our process data from BigQuery with Data Studio directly. So here I put you some useful links about the Supermetrics. How can you use Supermetrics and configure some connectors and use exactly this Data Studio connector for your BigQuery data. And I also provide you some resources which that I already provided in the previous webinar. But just please check those resources. You can learn some basic SQL basics to explore your data in Google BigQuery. So for this webinar was not supposed to learn you some SQL stuff. So I will really advise you to go check these sources. They're really cool. And this course on Udemy about using SQL for data science with Google BigQuery, don't be afraid of the word data science. It's pretty straightforward, this course, and with all the promotions on the Udemy, you can actually get it for like 10 euros. So please go check this source. It's really amazing, this course. It's helped me a lot to start using SQL with my Google BigQuery data. Yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you very much for your attention. Please free to add me on LinkedIn and to ask some questions or give me your feedback about the webinar.
Thank you, Christina. And also thanks from my side. We hope to see you all again for our new webinars. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to use the question tool here. We'll get to them as soon as possible. Also, when you exit the webinar, just enter the feedback form and give us your feedback. It helps us make these webinars even better. And of course, we look forward to seeing you in our future webinars. So thanks and have a great day.